Bunny's Designs. This is impromptu Sunday. I thought I'd do a bit of a different video today. Things have changed for me since I've bought two books. They've kind of changed what I want to do, and it's drawn me back to being just sketching, which is something that I haven't done for a long time. So I thought, I normally draw in ink, and I thought, well, I can't use this pen anymore. It really does hurt my hands. And I thought, well, I can't really do anything. I can't do any more sketching. And then I was going to sketch with this. I've got two pens which are biros, and they're quite chunky and easy to hold. Now this one is quite expensive, and it didn't last long, so I was a bit cross. It's a Frickson 4 colours 0.5 Pilot. Now I love it, but it's the black on it has now gone, and I love to draw with that one. And it has that eraser at the top as well, which I'd forgotten about. But this one is a Bic, and it's got 3 colours, blue, red and black. And then the grey one is an actual pencil. It's a 0.7 pencil HB. And I did find I did find it on Amazon, or you googled it, oh dear, so that I could show which one it is, because I threw the packaging away. And so it's a Bic, 4 colours, 3 colours and an HB pencil. So the pens are 1mm, and the pencil, mechanical pencil, is 0.7. And it's very, very easy to hold if you've got poorly hands. And this is the way I'm going now. My thumb is doesn't like anything. But I did manage to sketch most of yesterday, because we're on the motorway doing 40 miles an hour because the rain here. We got the tail end of the the hurricane, and so it was a bit drastic on the motorway yesterday. So I drew again, and I thought, hang on a minute, this isn't going to work. I'm drawing the same as I did with all the other sketches. And I thought, I don't want to do that. I want to create some kind of colour book with a story. But everything I've tried didn't work. So the drawings didn't work to colour, and I was playing with watercolours, and I'm just not going the way I want to go. It's not working. And then my daughter was sketching and drawing, and she sketched in the car. She sketched the cat yesterday. We have a new addition, Betsy. And Betsy absolutely adores my daughter. So she was in the car yesterday, in the back of the car, sketching. And she'd inspired me to go back to sketch. And I think that's just so wonderful that I taught her to draw, and now she's inspired me to draw. And here's the return of the boy. Come on, Alfie. Sorry about that. Come on, Alf. Can't bear to be not near me, but if he's in the kitchen, they think he's food. So I thought, hang on a minute, I'm not doing this right. So I had an eraser, because I can't really hold erasers very easily. Sorry, Alfie's been such a naughty boy today. So I thought, well, hang on a minute, let's have a doodle. So I drew the doodle, and then I shaded it in. And I really, really enjoyed this. And it gave me a bit more depth. Sorry about the noise. Sorry about that. The minute I pressed record, everybody makes a noise. So I thought, this is good. And I didn't realise it was an HB. I thought it was like a 2B in there, because there's some really dark, rich tones in this. So I was building up some colour. I'm thinking, oh, this is good. I like what it's doing. And then I kind of go back with an eraser and do the highlights. And so you can bring it back, a bit like in with charcoal. I used to draw years ago with charcoal and an eraser, and I really liked that. So I kind of thought this was a very, very 4 to 6B pencil. Um, and so, as I say, in the car, my daughter was in the back drawing. Anyway, the motorway, we were just having kittens watching us. And then I drew some more, and I thought, actually, I like the idea of taking individual bits from my colour book and getting the detail in, so that then I can kind of rearrange them into proper proper colours for the colouring book. Create the images, but I need to put the detail in first for my own kind of peace of mind, to make them rounded and not just a flat colour. So I thought, okay, well, we've done this. Now we'll go to each individual wildlife. So we've got the brambles, we've got leaves. Hopefully I'll get some bluebells in there. So I was thinking that I kind of like the idea of just having a sketchbook, a pencil and an eraser, and just see how my imagination has come back. So I'm so inspired for that. The one thing that's quite nice is this tracing paper, and it's only in the kids section. For goodness sake, don't go in the craft shop for the adults, because it's 3 times the price. But tracing paper seems to be really good, so you can use it for this just to keep it separate. Now, if I really wanted, I could take this outside. I'll get my daughter to, and fix it, because although it's pencil, it is a little bit. It's a very good pencil, but it's more like a 6B. 4B, very, very charcoaly dark pencil than it is a light one. So I'm very surprised when I looked on the website and found that it was actually an HB. So, I thought I'd just kind of sketch in, and I can do this for a long time because of this kind of fat pad at the bottom. It's not a kind of easy grip that's kind of anti-slip, but it's just the shape that seems to be quite nice if you've got pulley hands. Obviously you can do this with a normal pencil if you wanted, but I really think that this, even though they say it's an HB, I don't know, I think it's a 2B at least, which means it's a darker pencil. If anybody doesn't know, they're graded in HB is in the middle, so it's kind of, it'll go light and it'll go dark, and then you have the H's, so H2, H4, H6. I think H8 is the hardest pencil, and that gives the palest shade, and then you can go to 6 or 8B, and that's a very dark shade. So instead of having to use a pencil 2 or 3 times to build up the shades, if you have all the different pencils, instantly you have the darks and the mediums. Oh, Brenda says she uses 8B pencils for Zentangles for shading. Yeah, 8B is really strong, but I'm really surprised, especially you can tell with the shine, that this is just a 2B. Just trying to think if I've got anything that's just a bit harder. So the reason I'm using this, but I think I'll go to, I've got some 0.7s 2Bs there, so I think I'll use the 2Bs next when these run out. Hopefully I'll be able to fill it in. So I'm actually going to go and have a look on to Google to see if I can find any really fat mechanical pencils. That might be the next thing to do, or maybe I probably have to maybe make some kind of provision for that, make some fat handles from something, so that I can draw, because I'm quite enjoying myself drawing again. The only thing is, it needs to be flat, so I'll zoom in and see if we don't get this light. Because with it being a shiny pencil, it's, again, that's why I don't think it's an HB. So I'll zoom in and you can see. Now that hopefully we're Need some lettering. Can we read that? Yes. The other thing about colouring is you do need to kind of be able to turn things so they're handy. But you do need the tracing paper for your hand. So when you're using a mechanical, a bit like an ordinary pencil, the light strokes, and eventually you'll get like a little flat facet. And when you get into there, you don't get many pencil lines. And then I kind of wanted a little bit of a so go really softly at first. So I was really surprised how, just going back to basics, it's quite nice to just sit with your imagination. Now, I thought I'd lost my imagination. I really thought I can copy things, I can look at something and I can draw it. But I can't draw from memory. So again, I really enjoyed that. Now this is going to be a bit awkward, so I'm just going to turn this all the... I've got so many things about the desk. So hopefully not make everybody sit. Oh, hi Nina, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else popping in? Whoops. What I did there. So again, tracing paper, and it's really good quality, even though it was in the children's section. So I've paid £5 or £6 for tracing paper, and I've paid £1 or £2. And I actually prefer the children's. I don't know why, but I do. I found it's just that bit nicer. So when I altered the Joanna Basford's Christmas, if there weren't any backgrounds or some big spaces in colour books, I kind of like filling the spaces. But for me to draw things, mine look completely different to Joanna's and all the other artists. So it's a lot easier, and the page looks like it's been drawn by Joanna by tracing, because technically it has. So you just trace round, and that's how I found my tracing paper was kind of really handy. Because I've used it to put between pages when I've been preparing the pages with colour. If it's a pastel one, you need the paper between. So I seem to have got a bit darker there, but I suppose a little bit of artistic thought comes in that, you know, the shadow will be at that side. So that leaf will be darker than the other leaves. I seem to have lost its shape now. So just by gently going over, you can build up. I would think this is very similar to actual colouring with pens. Oh gosh, sorry. Colouring with pencils and building up different tones and different colours. But I'm not sure if I want to do that. I don't mind the pencils, because again it's the black and white, it's the tones, it's the black and white that I kind of like. So what I can do if I really want is to bring back a little bit of a highlight. Now I use the eraser in two ways. That kind of gives you more of a dense... I think the batteries are going on there actually. So you can use your eraser, and then you do want a little bit of a brush, because you can't rub it with your hands, it'll smudge. And then there is now a little facet on there, a little flat edge. It's just, now you can build back up. Make sure you've got the soft. Just to build up that shadow. And you can do this in a bouncy car because you're not being precise, so it's really, really, really good. So I think I might be hooked back onto pencil sketching again. So when I take that back round, and there is another piece here. So again, I've got that flat facet that's giving me hardly any pencil marks. It's just giving me a very, very soft shade. So then I can build up. Oh, sorry about that. I had to have stern words with the dog. So, thanks for joining me, guys. Hope everybody's okay. It's a live stream for ustream.tv and also recorded for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. So thanks to everybody for watching in YouTube land. My shows are very quiet. I have very quiet shows. But I can just about cope with that. So I want that little bit of a darkness. You can build it up like this, but then because I have this little point, I can turn it and then I can get a very, very sharp point, and I can really get some dark. And so you must remember to put your hand on there, and then this one can have a sharp point. Now these points will be brilliant for the holly. And again, I would have liked a highlight on there, but actually let me see how light we can get this. Because we want some different tones now. This is going to be lighter. So we'll go and do that there. And then we'll think the light's coming this way. So, and again, this little sharp edge is really going to make me give those little prickles. But you need to go in the direction. So I'll just do the ones that are facing me at the moment. You can really get some nice sharp. And then turn it back to the flat edge to just give that shadow at the bottom. And then we have maybe a shading. And the beauty of it is that I will be able to do backgrounds. Not on this particular one, but I can do backgrounds, which of course... never work with children or pets. Apologies for the... Now I might just take that out a little bit. So if anybody's got any questions, pop them in caps. Somebody's having a natter in chat. So thanks for joining me, guys, on this impromptu Sunday. I keep wanting to say Saturday, but I lost yesterday. I don't know where it went. Oh, we were on the motorway, weren't we? Yes. I'm getting so bad. I wondered why I didn't get anything done yesterday. So I did think that I would stream today. So we can have kind of a nice shadow. I think this might all be in shadow there. Perhaps. So I do have a trick for getting a sharp line. So I basically want to give all these a bit of an individual kind of colour. Because you think of colour, it's tone really, but I think of it's colouring with different tones of black and greys instead of tones of colour. So it depends how you want to look at it. Excuse me. Right, so that doesn't look particularly anything, but of course now we can go to that sharp bit there. And we can build up some colours. Oh, sorry, black tones. And it's a little bit fiddly, but of course I can do this in-depth detail now, which is something that I like to do. You get your teeth into it. It's something that you can really get into detail. You're not thinking about colour, you're just thinking about tone, and you're not thinking about line really, because you can do 6 or 7 lines. So it's a lot freer than drawing with a biro or a pen, which is something that I really love to do, but I can't do it anymore. So again, you can still build some more darkers and dark and dark and dark until you get to the very, very, very dark. And you can build them up. Now I have got a clue what's going to happen when this biro finally gives out. So it's darker underneath and then a light touch over the top. I think I might just leave the edge ones. So when I'm using the eraser, I have somewhere. I've made some sticky notes for later. I have to put sticky tabs in things so I know where things are. So in here, I have new, shiny, crisped edged erasers, and I have rounded ones. So what I do is when I want the shadowy bits, I use the dirtier ones. But when I want a really crisp shadow highlight, like on the edges of here, I swap out. Now I've already turned it round once, so that goes in here, and I take a new one out. And what that will allow me to do, hopefully, is, and again I want to be the right angle, to give just the right amount of highlight. I think I might just do that one. And then the ones underneath won't have any, but I think this might have the most. And if you do too much, you can go back in. So that's given, still got an edge on there, even though it's a little bit dirty. And these will come back to use at a later date. And then remember, now we've got some bits, so we can't brush them with our hands, just a little light. And blowing sometimes doesn't go because the eraser for some reason is a bit softer than that. So we pop that on there, and we pop that on there. So I'll just have a quick look at Samantha's and see. I think Samantha used a pencil. So Samantha has left her whites, although she did keep borrowing my eraser to take them back out again. So her pencil, which was an HB, it was my husband's railway one. The darks are not as crisp as this one, which makes me think that this one isn't an HB, but they have said it is an HB. But it's reacting like a 2B. So if you wanted to get this, you would want probably a 2 to 4B. An 8B is very, very dark. What I might do when I come back the week after next is I might do a whole video on pencils from the lightest to the darkest, because I do have some really good sets. Derwent have a good set. And then we could get into the pastel these must be my daughters. There's some charcoals. Derwent have some charcoals white. That might be interesting to play with. Now I do want a kind of a darker shadow down there. So again, using that really, really sharp dark edge. And you can get some really nice things. Now there would be a bit of a shadow there, and then that would go over there. So if we wanted, we could have a highlight on that, but I think because it's under here, I might leave that. Then the ones further down or over here, they would have a light. So I normally have three things coming down of 3 stalks. So this one would be darker, this one would have dark and light, and this one would be the lightest. And then even though it's just black and white, it will give you a little bit more. So if anybody's got any questions, I hope everybody's okay. So that one had a little bit of a highlight, and again, if you want to put another highlight on the leaf, which over here would bump more, just a touch. Now it might take you a few goes to get used to. I kind of like that highlight. It's not too much and it's not too If you find you've got too much highlight, again you can find that little flat edge. And you might lose this flat edge, so do another big section. So again, if you go over here, very, very lightly, and this is the other thing I like, I have no power in my hands at all. So the weight of the pencil is doing all the drawing, except for when I do a sharp edge. And again, I think that's allowing me to do this. So there's always a way around disability. Never ever think you can't. You concentrate on things you can do, and you cope with the fact you can't do the others. Now what I could do with this one, look, is just go again. There's 3 types of shading. There's going around the same pressure, and then the third time just one line of dark pressure, and I think that's what's helping me. Oh, sorry, I just wonder what the wet nose was on my foot. Now this leaf here, this leaf, what's just a bit of something. And then we need to bring these spikes back. Now you could do that last or first, but that's when you need that. Sorry about the thumb in the way. This one, I've kind of lost these, so I could put them back in now. And remember, this is my doodle. This isn't real. This is a doodle. This is my interpretation, so it's not reality. In reality, I would have to spend 2 to 3 days on each berry, because that's the way I work. So we want the highlight actually on the, not on the top of this one, I don't think. So the other wonderful thing is, if you lose your highlight, you can get it back. And if you highlight too much, you can just tone it down. So like, I'm not sure I like that one. So I can just really carefully just make it disappear. Just a touch. The same with that one. And maybe that one at the bottom. Now maybe there wouldn't be quite so much. So you can make the shadow disappear very carefully. So there still is a highlight, but it's not as shiny. It's just not quite as light as everywhere else. So I think I might make these berries a little bit bigger next time, because I think if you were doing this with, I can imagine doing this with the pencils, you know, you really want to get in there and get some nice tone on each individual little round berry. And you can't do that with this. Now, there might not be as much highlight because, of course, it's round the other side. But remember, you can have a bounced highlight. Now, as it happens, we're under a bush. You wouldn't, but you might just have 1 or 2 on the top. And then if you think you've got too much, you can just take that back to make that a rounded shape. And then take the little sharp edge to kind of really get in there with individuals. And then we want these fronts to stick out a bit more perhaps, so we can give them a good shape. Now this has got a shape here, that's got the shape, and then this one unfortunately is in front of the stem, but I think you can just about work that out. So you get some really nice effects fairly quickly. Now what we could do is, if we leave that in shadowish, we could maybe just have a touch on every and again just brush that off. Just maybe too much. We just want to show that there is a bit of a highlight there. So you can bring it back if you take off too much. And again, I like that fact. I got away from the fact that, you know, I can make a mistake. I can be looser and make mistakes because I can rectify it. To a certain extent, I can get the darkest dark and the lightest light, depending on which one I use. So it's kind of, you can be a bit freer and you can do things you probably wouldn't do. Now, I think that there wouldn't be a full bright highlight at that side. I think if you were going to have a highlight, it would just be a little bit. And if you think, well, actually, I don't know, then you can do that. Now, I think that should be maybe just that little bit more rounded. Because those berries look a little bit big. You can just have a bit of a play. And again, we want some nice shadows. Now, being a mechanical pencil, you've got to keep remembering to push a bit more out. Now, try to do just one at a time. And then you can just get a little bit of darkness under there. And very carefully take off that highlight, because I think it's a bit much then. And I think that's going to just take off that as well. Sometimes you've only got a highlight on a couple of berries. I think that's better. Just taking that off. Make it a little bit better. Apologies for the Elf Master being in trouble. Now I have the little facet there. So you might be able to see that there is a little bit of a sharp point. Now just take that and just take that just a bit further. And the beauty of this is it's exaggerated them, but it's given me a skill for the holly. So when I come to do my holly, which the wonderful thing is, I could actually do that now. I could put that on there, and I could do my holly. Now, the way I did the holly is, I need a bigger clip actually to hold these together. I did have, I can use that one, I suppose. Right, so clean page, and I'll zoom out really quickly so you can see how the doodle is made. And I always come down from the top. I'm going to take that paper off because it's going to be a bit annoying. So we've got holly. So this is all going to be holly. I nearly had a moment where I had to think about the mushrooms and the toadstools, but this is just going to be holly. And I've forgotten how I drew it, so bear with me 2 seconds. I had lots of different leaves that I was playing with. That was the ivy. I want to do the bluebells as well. So the holly. There was the holly. So I do 5 berries and 5 leaves. So I need a stem. So I would think the stem of a holly is quite prickly. So bear with me a second. I'll have a very quick look. So if the leaves join together, I normally look at that. If they don't, I look at the shape of the leaves. So do the veins join, or are they staggered? So I get a basic, oopsie, wrong one. I get a basic feel for the leaf and the flower. So if I type in holly on Google, again, I don't want to look and draw it precise. So we have, oh, my phone's a bit slow there. So here we are, look, it's a little bit dark. Oops, it's a lot dark. That won't do. Have to pick another one. This one doesn't have any, it doesn't have any points either. So that's no good. We want the prickly one. So the prickly one is kind of this one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've actually got 6 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 berries. I might do 7 actually rather than 5. I might do 7. But then what I wanted to look at is the stems to see the prickly stems. So here, this is one. This is a good one. So they don't have prickles on the stems then. We've got like a curving, everything's curved, but then we have the prickles. So I can so we've got kind of, I'll swoop it this way. So if we have kind of a and then here we'll have let me just have a quick look. That's on the end of everyone, isn't it? Bear with me. Look. Yeah, they do actually look like mini apples. So we've got kind of, yeah. So I'm not happy with that. And again, this is something that I'm just not used to. And my eraser's decided it's had enough. So it's quite nice to make a mistake. So we'll start here and I'll have, remember I've got to be stylized rather than think. 4, 5, 6, 7. So each one is going to have a top. Alright, so I kind of go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's a bit wonky, but never mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Because I don't normally do 4. I've got 5 there. Do I want 5 or do I want 6? I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just better have another one. Don't want 8, 2, 4, 6. Can't have an even number, I don't think. So I think I'm going to take this one out. And again, this is something that I wouldn't be able to do if I did it in pen. I'd have to start all over again. So there are some advantages of this. So we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's not too contrived. It's still a doodle. And then from the end straight down to there. I think some probably will work better than others. Whoopsie. I have to remember this. I'm pretty sure that this pencil is not an HB. It's too soft. It's gorgeous, but it's too soft. And the one thing you have to do is to be comfortable. So you really need to get, if your wrist isn't in the right position. So that's my next step. And this is the step, every step for the doodle for the holly. And this is what I want to get into the habit of doing. So my hollies now have 2, 4, 6, 8. They have 9 and they have 7 berries. I might actually do another berry there. I think we're going to have 9 berries and 9 leaves. And the stalk, so that one will go there next, because the stalk would be up there. I did want it showing really, and it's got to kind of go through the centre. So, and it's got to be quite a substantial stalk because it is holding. And that's a bit bigger than I wanted, but it'll be fine. So what I'm going to do is just pop that onto there, because again we have this silly lighting thing for some reason. And have a bit of green in there. So hopefully that's okay. So I'm going to zoom in, and then I'm going to shade this one in. Now again, that's taken quite a lot, so I've done all those drawings in this book. Now one thing I do like to do is not have a pencil line. Just see if I can reactivate these batteries a bit. Yeah. Oopsie. And the first time I used this, I broke it. So, you see? You must use a different finger, but if you lick your finger and just dab a little bit of wetness, no, not a lot, just a tiny bit of wetness onto the battery at either end, and do the same with the other one, you will get a little bit of battery out of it. I learnt that when I was with the scales in the bathroom. Right, so we can just get, and then the idea is want a soft kind of shade to it rather than a hard one. I mean, that eraser is working. Now I'm going to just do this down the middle, and what that's going to do is just take all that off again. So what I can do is very carefully bring it back. And then turn it on that really, really sharp corner, and then blend the difference, because you can't suddenly go very, very dark all of a sudden. You need the fact that it's round. So it does look that it's round now. So welcome to Bunny's Designs. Oopsie, don't know what that is. Anybody else popping in? So again, I've got to think about the leaf. So do I want the leaf curling out or curling in? And I can't remember. Whoopsie, sorry. Can't remember. So I'm just going to very quickly have a look at a berry leaf that I like. So this is the berry that I like. And the kind of twist... Oh, gee whiz, my light's gone. They're kind of twisted. Oopsie. They're twisted. So we've kind of got a bit of a shadow under that one. And I like the fact that they kind of really do turn. I like that idea. So although I've got a basic shape, I can exaggerate it. So we can give, again on that flat facet, a very soft, even tone. And I've got that outside line that I don't like, so we can get rid of that in a second. So we can build this up. I don't know if that was actually yes, it is. So I need the lighter line down the middle. So the first thing to do then, we're going to have to find a method to do this particular leaf. We will give it this mid-tone, flat. And sometimes you see the pencil lines and sometimes you don't. So it's obviously not its final. And then in the middle, we want to build up to see what's happening there. And we do need that middle. Oh gosh, Alfie. That middle. Sorry, he doesn't like my eraser. So we'll brush that apart. So we've got, and again, I don't know if you can see that there's the real sharp bit and the real soft bit. So I want the soft bit here, so I can build up to that light. And then build that up to there. Thank you. Do you want to see if they work in there? Thank you. Do you want me to pull it for you? So by changing these tones in here, we can tell it's all twisted and curled round. And then we want that really sharp little bit there. And eventually, we just follow each one in the direction that they want to be. And they're becoming really sharp. Now, I haven't done this shape before, so I might not like it like this. I may have to change it to be a darker one, but I'm going to follow that round. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Does it work? Thank you. I can just... Oh, gee whiz. Cannot wait to get in my new room. It won't be a walkway, so that would be quite nice. Nobody going in and out. Yes. So hopefully that should be better. That's quite nice, that above that leaf. Oh my goodness me. And Alfie won't be able to open the door, because Alfie can open doors at the moment. So kind of like that. I may have to play about a bit with that particular one. I won't be next to the kitchen. Sorry about that. Honestly, I cannot wait to get in my new room where I'm going to have a big sign. I'm going to do what they do in the radio stations. I'm going to have a red light on. That'll upset the neighbours. Having a red light on. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. I kind of like that. It's okay. I like the fact that you can play about with the tones, and obviously in there is going to be kind of dark anyway, so. And then you can just see that through there. So I'll just do one berry, and it's quite good to have your cardigan so you can't do this. I think we're going to have a mid-tone, so we're going to find that little facet that I've made. So everything's evenly toned all the way around. And again, I've got that dark line round, so I might be tempted to actually draw it in a lighter pen if I can get some different pens. Oh, mind you, I've got rid of it now. So I built that tone up round the outside and here. And again, this is this lovely soft facet So I don't have any hard lines, and I can actually get kind of down. And then on the other side, now I'm not quite sure how to draw that, because I want to make it up. I don't really, I wonder if I could put some fronds on it, or little bits, some kind of little bits on it. And then just a tiny highlight. I wanted it a little bit higher than that. So again, the light's going this way. It's easy for me to think that, so I can actually almost get rid of the highlight. So the next highlight is going to be here. It'll be here on that one, that side on that one, touch of highlight on that one, highlight on this section here. That one would be in this side, and that one would be probably just a bit here, because it would be hidden from that one. So they would be quite good. Oh, hi Debbie, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else popping in? So again, I want that lovely soft facet, and there's no pencil lines. If I had a point, there would be, but if you had a pointed pencil, I would just use the pencil like this on its side, and you'd get the same effect, and you'll probably build up that little wedge. And then little circular motions. So what you're doing is you're taking that harsh outside line and making it disappear. It becomes the shadow around the outside of the little berry. So it might be a good idea next time to kind of, perhaps I would be able to draw it in a paler pencil, because I wouldn't spend as much time. It's the actual gripping the pencil that's the problem. I cannot grip anything. I think I might just take that round there, I think. And that, again, that's the beauty of this. We don't have to do it first time, so it's got me away from this tight thing. Now, I think that highlight's going to be on that side. Just build that up and up a bit more. And then this can be just another. And again, I'm not pressing because I can't press. I don't have any strength in this hand at all. I do want to kind of get that sharp edge, and it keeps turning round in the, it keeps turning round. And then I just want a very, a very, very, very tiny highlight. And I'm going to put that one back in. And I'm going to put that one there. And if I'm not happy with it, I can turn it down a bit later. And the other thing you've got to think of, that these two are the same tones. So this has got to be dark green and this is dark red. Well, actually that's right. If you turned it into a black and white photograph, these berries would almost be the same tone as the dark green. So we have this one at this side, and again, because I don't have any pencil lines, I can go in any direction I want. And I can make this little one a bit bigger. That was round, and that's not quite as round, so we could round this one off if we wanted. Because I think they're not like rose hips, pointy. Little holly berries are completely round, little round balls. So, we can build that round there, and then I don't think that stalk would be there. I think the top would be there. And again, just got to get that little frond. I'm going to exaggerate these fronds because I think it would look pretty. And again, this is my doodle. I'm not making it look like a holly berry. It's my doodle. It's for a colouring book. It's my storybook that's going to be for colouring. So they need to have a bit of interest. And then again, we want that tiny little, just there. Maybe the other one's a little bit big, perhaps. That's probably better. And onto the next. The other thing I think I've got wrong are these berries would probably be the same size, I think, but you know, there again. This is the first time I've done it this size, so perhaps my doodle will get better. And this probably is a little bit bigger than I probably will use it, so again, the idea is just to iron out a few ideas about what I intend to put in my colour book. And then we've got this, and again, if you had a pencil it wouldn't turn round, so some little fronds in there, and we just want the tiniest touch, and I've got to be that way because I want it to be there. So I kind of like that. That's a bit of a holly berry. So the other thing was going to be a bluebell. So I'll just have a bit of a recap. On that one. So I've done my leaves and my brambles, and then I've used a little bit of invisible tape, but I've taken off a bit by tapping it on my cardigan, so it won't damage the paper. Excuse me, I don't know which that one is. And then we've got the holly berry, so we've got the holly, and I'm using cheap children's Wilko's tracing paper because I actually kind of like this tracing paper. I like it, and I will probably be using it to create the pages. I think that's what I'm going to do, because in the Joanna's Christmas book I used the tracing paper to fill in the designs that I thought there weren't enough things in. Now, I hate to say the word Christmas, but oops, that's the wrong one. While I was I bought this one because it was after Christmas. It was January, February, and they had one left, and it was a few pounds. But it's really good because I can show the differences. So I love this book, but I don't like spare backgrounds. I'm getting better, but I don't like backgrounds. So what I intended to do with this one is I will probably do the same. I may do a background, haven't decided, because I'm getting better with backgrounds. But if I zoom out even more, so this is what it should look like, and this is what I did with it. So I stole one of the little robins from further on, and because I traced it in a pencil, in an HB pencil. In fact, I traced it in an HB, a really, really dark pencil. And then I reversed it, and what that left me was I could have instantly the transfer. And then when I turned it back that way, I would have the transfer on both sides, because I had the pencil on both sides. And I really enjoyed that, because that made me, all these are kind of traced and reversed. And this is how I'm going to make my colour book. This was trying to draw myself. I'm supposed to be an artist, and I could not draw anything that looked anything like anything. So that's when I decided that I would have to trace. So that's what the deer is supposed to look like, and I took these and reversed them, and I filled the pages. Because my drawing is different to Joanna's, and there was no point me doing my doodles because it looks so different. So I just traced Joanna's. It's still her colour book, I've just changed it a little bit. What was the next one I did? I haven't done some of these. The horse is the next one, I think. I think the horse is at the back, actually. So the beauty of it is I can get to colour this again differently. The bird I haven't done, the dove, bird. Oh, it is. That was the other one that I've done. I have drawn, ready to colour, a lot more presents, and I traced them from here. This is another one that I loved it, but it wasn't fancy enough. So I just traced and reversed Joanna's sketches to make them look like that. And I think I did another one really quickly. This one I did a wallpaper, which was this background. And again, this is graphitint, and again I'm going to go back into graphitint because I love graphitint. Oh, that was the horse. I didn't do too much to the horse, I don't think. Maybe I didn't do anything to the horse. Nope, I didn't. But I think that's what gave me the idea to fill the circles in. Again, I love this, but I wanted more holly and more ivy, so I traced round. And this particular idea, and again the same with this one, I put the bunny standing on a present, reversed the bells, the blue bells, so there were more blue bells, and filled out these just by reversing them. It looks completely different when you reverse it. I think I did one other. This was the one that I drew myself, and it wasn't as good. The little bird one, I think I rediggled as well. That one, I loved it. Oh, no, that's that one. I didn't do anything with that one. This one, I loved it, but again, spare spaces around, so I filled mine in. So by showing you this, what I'm trying to say is that if you love a page, if you try to draw something, it's going to be in your style. So the easiest thing to do is to copy Joanna's other things, reverse them, and then you're creating different pages. I think the little bird, I put the extra leaves inside. I'm pretty sure I did. There. Again, oh no, that's just one little bird. Oh, I think that's the one that doesn't have anything in the front, isn't it, that one? So that's the first one. So I really enjoyed that and I loved it. I didn't do it because I wanted to do something different. I did it because I didn't like spaces and I don't normally do backgrounds. So if you don't like backgrounds, that's a way to get away from it. But by doing that, and again that was beginning of the year, last year, that's inspired me to do my doodles and I don't know what I've done with. So instead of drawing it as a whole, because I don't like it, I'm going to draw each individual one and get them as I like them. And then trace them and create the image and move it about. So what it's like, it's a bit like having Photoshop, but you're doing it manually. Basically, that's what it is. So once you've traced them, I will be moving them about and moving things around, and you can see how they look, rather than drawing the whole thing and not being happy with it, which is what I've been doing. So everything is leading up to me creating individual berries and hollies, and when I've got them as I like them, I can then rearrange them on a sheet, and then that's going to be easier for illustrating my little story. But I'm very impressed that I've started to draw with a pencil and an eraser. Again, I'm pretty sure that you don't get all this smudging from an HB, even though it says it's an HB. I would say that's 2 to 4B definitely. But again, next week when I come back, I'll do a whole series of videos of pencils and pencil shading and what shades you can get from what particular pencil hardness. So we've got 6H or 8H to 8B. So quite enjoyed my sketching today. Didn't do very much, but I've ironed out a few problems. But I quite like the fact that I can just take 2 things with me instead of hundreds of things when I go away, and I've got my imagination, so I'm really pleased about that. And that's all Dee Dee's fault. Bless her. She's inspired me to use my imagination. Thank you for watching.